Well, I think if you're going to shoot 357 SIG, you should shoot Sig Sauer 357 SIG. Starting out with Sig Sauer Elite Performance 357 SIG, 125 grain full metal jacket, rated at over 1,350 feet per second. Let's get started. A lot of requests over the years to do a 357 SIG chambered Glock. So here is the Glock 33 Gen 4 first 100. I took the liberty of already putting a rubberized Talon grip on this pistol, knowing that I would want it. While this is my first 357 chambered Glock, it is not by any means my first baby Glock sized Glock. All right, so right off the bat, let's see what this thing can do at 10 yards. I've got an orange dot on my target 10 yards away. This particular Glock does have the upgraded 3-dot night sights. A little snappy. This Sig Sauer ammo is potent stuff in this short little gun. (1,356 feet per second, I believe is what it's rated at, with a 125 grain bullet. Huh. All right, let's take a look at the one that didn't fire. It's got a maybe a little bit of a light primer strike on it. Let's try it again. There we go. .357 SIG is probably one of the most underrated cartridges, particularly for defensive use. It is very potent round, and you know it kind of is that medium, literally is the medium between 40 Smith & Wesson and 9mm. You know, it's a 40 Smith & Wesson round neck down to a 9mm essentially, but it has some interesting ballistic qualities to it. It's got incredible velocities. Again, this Sig Sauer ammo is traveling at over 1,350 feet per second, 125 grain projectile. So that's a lot of energy hitting down range at your target. It's an interesting round in that it gives you the decent capacity, but I think probably for a lot of people the question was, well, then why not just carry 40? I mean, you're only going to be allowed to have as much capacity as you could have in a 40 because that's the size of the majority of the cartridge. Why not just carry 40? And I think that's the direction most people have gone. There are several law enforcement, including here in Delaware where I live, the state police in Delaware still carry 357 SIG as their duty ammo. So it certainly has some support in law enforcement. I believe Pennsylvania as well, if I'm not mistaken, carries 357 SIG. So it certainly has some duty behind it. It is, though, in a little gun like this baby Glock, and the Glock 33 is the same size as the Glock 26. So this is the baby Glock, chambered in 357 SIG. And in this gun, it is a pretty snappy round, I'm not going to lie to you. Let's see if we can have a little bit of fun with it and make some steel move around. Uh-oh. It's taking me a minute to find my point of aim here. I have not shot a Glock in a while, and a baby Glock especially. Been shooting a lot of center hold stuff. Where is that target? There it is. So what is there to tell you about this gun? This is what you came for. There's not a whole lot to tell you about the Glock 33 Gen 4. It is a Gen 4. Baby Glocks have always had the dual recoil spring, so that wasn't anything they added. Basically, it was a texture basically it was a texture change. You do get the optional back straps with it, so that's good. But that, and other tiny little things, but there's really not a whole lot of difference between previous generations and the Gen 4 in this size gun. In my humble opinion, actually, it's not really all that humble. Otherwise, the name of the channel would be just a humble opinion. But in my opinion, that rubberized Talon grip, or some Talon grip, could be the granulate if you prefer that, is a must. Rubberized is, for me, for anything that you might potentially carry, because that granulate against your skin, or even against clothing that you don't want to wear holes in, could be a little rough. The rubber gives you just about the same exact grip, but it's a lot more comfortable. Let me just put some right on the body of that target. It is a potent round. Definitely a good choice for self-defense, if you can handle it, because it is snappy. This Glock 33 does seem to have the typical Glock straight back over your head or almost over your shoulder type ejection pattern, occasionally into your forehead. Have noticed that. So pretty typical for a Glock. That sometimes will work out a little bit as you break them in, but yeah, it's kind of going to always be that way. If you like the baby Glock, this is the exact same gun. So your trigger reach, your trigger reach, the just an opinion grip index is going to be the same. I'll give you those numbers below. The Talon grip adds about, as near as I can figure, Talon grip adds about maybe 20 thousandths in width to a gun. So it's really insignificant in terms of how it changes the grip. And what you gain in terms of traction and the way it feels is far superior to me. So it's definitely worth it anyway. So like I said, this one does have the 3-dot sights. 3-dot sights are an available option. This one has it. They are night sights with tritium. I suspect too that the configuration of the 357 SIG with that bottleneck cartridge, because it is such a chore to reload, it's not impossible, but it is certainly a chore and requires extra steps. Handgun reloaders like me, I'm a handgun reloader, I'm not interested in all those extra steps, so I have not yet undertaken trying to reload 357 SIG. If I shot a lot of it and I accumulated a whole bunch of the brass and stuff, I probably would then, but you know, that feels more like a hobby than production. And most of the time, especially when it's 9mm or 45 and I'm reloading, I'm just trying to get ammo made so I can get out and shoot it. So if you're going to get into 357 SIG as a reloader, you better enjoy reloading it for the hobby. Still getting brass coming and hit me in the head and ears and all that. I can feel it while I shoot. Again, fairly typical Glock. Well, let's try the hostage guy again. See if we can get the bad guy. One of the other reasons that more people don't shoot 357 SIG is simply because it's very expensive. A box, you know, of just typical range ammo is nothing for it to be $25 to $30. And the defensive loads are really expensive. So, you know, again, it's kind of a catch-22, because if more people shot it more often, it would come down in price. There's no doubt about it. But people don't shoot it very often because it's expensive. So it's not a choice a lot of people make, but it is a really good round. It's a heck of a defense load. Ballistically, it has some great properties. This SIG ammo is incredibly powerful and accurate. It's more accurate than I'm showing it, that's for sure. I think on a baby Glock, whatever caliber you choose, I think the night sights are an important option to consider. Either the Glock standard, which are these, or you know, an aftermarket. There's a lot of good aftermarket ones out there too. But if you're going to carry a gun for defense, there's a very good chance it's going to be dark when you need to use it. So having tritium night sights is a really good idea. So there you go, especially those of you who have requested the Glock 33, 357 SIG Glock, baby Glock, first 100. It is a snappy little pistol chambered in this round. 357 in this gun feels to me like it's a little snappier than 40 Smith & Wesson in this same size gun, but similar, not too terribly different. Glock 33 Gen 4, first 100. Thanks for watching.